What's up, everybody? Robot Sniper here, and today I have a special video for you guys. No gameplay and commentary today. Oh, but Robot Sniper, I want to see you play some more shitty gameplay. Well, too fucking bad because I'm not doing that. Today we're gonna be doing something a little different. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware, Detective has uploaded a video called TF2 Pain, or Team Fortress Pain, quote unquote. And it's a video of me making him play the Pyro. I have not uploaded my video, and for a good reason. And some of you are probably wondering, why does he hate the Pyro so much? Well, I did a little interview with him. Now, what he thinks is that it's just an instant interview. You know, we go into details, what he thinks about, you know. It gives you a bit more of an insight, right? And my guess is he wants everybody to agree with him. However, it ain't gonna happen, Detective. Sorry, because instead of me playing the interview, the regular interview, I'm gonna be playing bits and parts of it. But I'm also gonna give my own commentary about it, because a lot of things that he says are just plain dumb and kind of biased towards Pyros. I was hoping he actually gave me some good stuff. Not to say that he didn't, but something better. Because I mean, the reasons why he gives me, it's just so dumb. Like, why? I feel like you're purposely pulling out that BS just to give it a reason to hate Pyro. Well, without any more to say, let's roll that classic intro. So, what is the most annoying thing that you come to find about the Pyro?
Crits.
Crits?
Yes, crits and tick damage.
Crits and the... I believe you're referring to the afterburn.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, in the clip that you just saw, he said that crits are the worst thing about Pyro. He's referring to not only just random crits, but also crit mechanic weapons such as the extinguisher, the man melter, the flog. And I will say, those can be annoying. However, every class has random crits. And a lot of times, Pyro... in my opinion, from what I've played of Pyro and what I've seen, Pyro gets random crits even less than regular classes. So I'm not sure what that's all about. He also says the afterburn is annoying. And my opinion on it is, what the fuck? He's supposed to have goddamn afterburn. Pyro's had afterburn since TF2 was invented. I don't get that shit. Afterburn? The tick damage. Oh, it's annoying. Well, you mean to tell me? Okay, afterburn. Okay, I'm gonna be a little salty, but afterburn lasts 10 seconds, doing I think maybe 6 damage a second. I don't know, or like 6, like tick tick tick. That's what he's referring to. He calls it tick damage, and for me, the afterburn is supposed to be the Pyro's greatest attribute, is afterburn. He's supposed to have that mechanic. So, what are you gonna do? Valve can't just remove it. Nobody's gonna play Pyro if they remove that shit. So, you might need to get over yourself a little bit. Sorry, I'm gonna be the asshole in this one. And, I think that's all he says in that little thing. I'm not exactly sure, but I do know this. He said his tick damage is annoying. Now, my thing is, you mean to tell me you can't take 10 goddamn seconds to find a health pack or find something to extinguish the flames? Bullshit. I call BS on that. Maybe you just suck at surviving. You ever think about that, Detective? Sorry. I love you, but you are not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer. Right, so let's get into the crits thing. Now, what is it about the crits that upsets you the most? I'm not quite understanding, and I'm sure the viewers aren't quite understanding. What about the crits is so annoying? Like, is it because it's random? Or is it because they just straight up kill you immediately? What? I want to know. We want to know.
So with Pyro, like, every other character in the game crits once, but Pyro crits about 4 times. As long as he holds, basically as long as he holds down in one, um, he almost has crits indefinitely.
So in this, he says that Pyro basically crits longer and it's somewhat effective, I guess. I don't know, but if this is a bit of a question, if crits are so bad on Pyro, what makes you think they're so? What makes you think they're not as bad on every other single class in the game? Like, I don't know, Demo or Soldier, because when those guys get random crits, it don't just kill one person. It kills a whole bunch of people at fucking once. At least the Pyro has to somewhat aim and try to take down the other people at fucking close range. I don't know. Kind of like his flamethrower suggests. It's supposed to be a close range shit. But Soldier and Demo, his quote unquote main, yeah, those guys have random crits that are way worse than the Pyro. So yeah, that's kind of debunked. What do you think about Pyro's unlockable weapons? AI like the Scorch Shot, the Flare Gun, the Reserve Shooter, God, not the damn Reserve Shooter, the Backburner, Phlogistator. What do you think about all of them? What do you think about those weapons?
The secondary weapons that can catch people on fire are very powerful because what made Pyro not so overpowered is that you could basically outrun him, and he has to resort to his shotgun. Now he can just catch you on fire even more.
Alright, so in this one he basically says that the Pyro secondary weapons are kind of annoying, mostly the Scorch Shot. Even though the Flare Gun can crit people, he finds the Scorch Shot more annoying. I guess because of the somewhat splash damage that the Scorch Shot has and the fact that it knocks people back. That is kind of annoying, but it's what's supposed to be. There's really no strategical way to use it. If you want to knock people off cliffs, then that's not really annoying. That's you just dying. If something kills you, I don't think that should be annoying. If something's harassing you but not necessarily killing you, that's one thing. Okay? And he also says that if you're playing a class that can outrun the Pyro, he can basically just light you on fire again and put a secondary weapon. Now, Shotgun and Reserve Shooter, obviously he thinks Shotgun's okay, which it's okay. I don't like using it because I just think it kind of sucks at long range. Medium range, I mean, but why would you use it at close range when you have a flamethrower? Don't make sense. The Reserve Shooter, that's more of a combo weapon, and it's annoying as hell, and I would never use it. Well, I say annoying because I don't think it necessarily kills me instantly. Or well, I take that back about the kill me instantly thing. Things that can kill you are annoying, in my opinion, but I take back what I said about that. That's pretty much all he says. I don't quite get. I will say this. It's the crit mechanic weapons that he has can be a little bit annoying, but if someone says that the flare gun is easy to use and easy to get their shots on, they're full of shit, because you gotta have some sort of aiming and prediction along with it, depending on how they run. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I don't like playing Pyro. Not because I think he's overpowered and disgusting. I just don't like playing him because I kind of think he's underpowered when I play him as him. And I've been playing TF2 for 5 damn years, and I think the Pyro needs something to actively make me want to play him. But that's just my opinion. So, yeah. What do you think about Pyro's melees? Are his melees alright?
They're alright. The detonator is pretty good. I at one time played a bit of Pyro, just a tiny bit, and then I got tired of him because he was so powerful. But I played with the what was it? Did I say the detonator?
Yes.
I meant to say the extinguisher. The one that does more damage towards medics or enemies that are on fire. Not medics.
Interesting. Okay, so in this one, he says that most of his melees are alright, except for the extinguisher. Okay, and obviously he's gonna say something that directly affects him as an enemy player when fighting against Pyros. Obviously, he's gonna say those weapons are bad, but he also mentions that he played Pyro for a little while, but he got tired of him because he's so overpowered. What? Never in my life have I heard someone say I've stopped playing a class because they're too good. I've heard it for certain weapons, but never a class. And do you want to know why I've never heard someone say that? Because there's no overpowered class in Team Fortress 2. TF2 was balanced from the start. Now, okay, they've made some changes to some classes. Maybe some movement speed changes to the Spy, NG when he's moving his gear. But that's for the better. And people thought the Spy's movement speed was kind of dumb. Like, well, we know about that, but it's still balanced, is it not? Is Team Fortress 2 classes still operate the same way? Do they? Yeah, that's what I thought. As for the Pyro goes, I kind of think he's average or even underpowered. Yes, I'm going as far as to say the Pyro might need something, not necessarily a buff, but he needs to work in a way to where I know how to play him effectively. He's not a good offense class because he has the whole flamethrower thing in the range. So head-on fights aren't really his strong suit. He's an okay flanking class, but his movement speed is pretty average. They at least need to give him somewhat of a movement speed if he's going to be a, I guess, flanking or ambush class, I guess. As for support class, I don't know, maybe make him do more support things. I don't know. I'm not quite sure on that one, but he already has some support weapons, so maybe that is what Valve's going with. I don't know. But the Pyro is just, we don't really know how to play the Pyro. At least I don't. I'm not sure. I need to have a specific way of playing him before I'll actively play as him. So that's just my 2 cents on that. He doesn't really say much anything else in that segment, but just pretty much he just don't like the extinguisher because it does more damage it does crit damage to burning players. My thing is, hardly nobody uses the damn thing after the nerf, so if he's running into people who still use it, maybe they're noobs and they don't know what it does yet. I don't know. Maybe it's just his luck. Maybe he's like me. Maybe he has some of the worst luck in TF2 history. I don't know. All I do know is that I stopped using the extinguisher because it got nerfed so bad. It's not like the danger shield or the reserve shooter where I didn't use them because, yeah, I thought it was kind of a dick move. Especially the danger shield. Looking back on it now, I didn't like it. I mean, I used it, so you can crucify me for that, but I stopped using it because I just thought it was too good. As for the reserve shooter, I just didn't want to get bitched at for using the reserve shooter, so there you go. In the Meet Your Match update, they introduced a feature where when a medic is healing a teammate and that teammate is on fire, the medigun won't do as much healing. So it kind of blocks off the healing a little bit with the flame damage. What's your opinion on that?
I think that the healing should stay the same and not decrease at all. Because then you would have no way of escaping Pyros. Medics, dispensers, people with Mad Milk and Girardi, and water, which water is not on very many maps. Those are your only escapes from Pyros.
Okay, so in this one, he basically says, I talked about the meet your match thing where the medigun did less healing, I guess, or some type of medigun resistance when it comes to healing a burning teammate. I'm not sure exactly how they put it, but if you don't know, when Meet Your Match came out, they added a feature for medics. It was a nerf where if you're healing a teammate and that teammate's on fire, your medigun won't do as much, so it has a bit of a medigun healing resistance. I guess that's how they put it. This is actually one of the things where I might consider them taking that off. But I mean, maybe it was too good, and maybe that's why they nerfed it in the first place. I'm not exactly sure about that. I wouldn't know exactly what to do with that. It hasn't really been a problem for me, as far as I'm concerned, because I do play a lot of medic, and it doesn't really become a problem for me. Maybe it's more of an even playing ground now. I mean, it's not to say that the medigun stops healing completely. That's not what we're saying at all. It's just reduced a little bit. So maybe it's more fair to Pyros. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just think Pyro is a little bit underpowered, in my opinion. Underpowered, yes. I went that far, detective. I went that far. He basically says there's only certain ways to get rid of Pyro, or not get rid, but get rid of the flame damage that he has. You know, water, medics, dispensers, Mad Milk, Girardi. He doesn't mention sandwiches or air blast, which maybe... I didn't look at all the interview videos yet. I'm kind of looking at one and just recording this as I go. So if he does mention that there is, sandwich and air blast, just disregard this part then. I'm not sure. But those are also things that you can use to get rid of flames. I don't really know what else to say there. But as far as this part of the interview went, I think that was the only thing that I might agree with. It's the removal of the medigun resistance. But again, maybe it was for the best. I don't know. You can judge for yourself. I feel as though there should be more weapons like Mad Milk, Girardi, and in some cases the sandwich, help stop the burning that puts out the flame immediately. Do you think all classes should have some sort of weapon like that?
Yes, I think all the classes should.
Now, do you have any ideas for what maybe some of those weapons might be? And actually, guys, I'm going to chime in right here. Before, let's see, in TF2 beta, there was going to be an unlockable weapon that replaced the revolver. It was going to be a flame retardant suit. It's pretty much the same one that he's wearing right now, like a coat, suit and tie. But it would have afterburn immunity, and I think 70%, it might have even been 90% less flame damage. But it would replace your revolver. Do you think a lot of classes need some more weapons like that?
Yes, but I don't think that they should replace their primary weapon. Like maybe a secondary. Because all classes need their primary. Except for really
Medic.
Spy. He mainly backstabs.
Alright. That was actually a true story, though, because in TF2 beta, yes, they were going to have an unlockable weapon that replaced your primary. It would have been a flame retardant suit, but they didn't. I think they went with the ambassador instead. I'm not sure if that's what they went with. Maybe it was something else. I didn't do my research before making this shit, so don't crucify me that hard, but as far as the discussion went, he thinks that there should be more weapons that kind of reduce flames for all classes. And I completely disagree with that because it make the Pyro too weak. if every person just started using those weapons, nobody would play Pyro, and to me that would be the exact same thing as removing the class from the game, and nobody wants that. I don't even think Valve wants that. I mean, Jesus Christ, we still got an upcoming Pyro update. I don't think it'd be a good idea if they remove the Pyro. So, as far as that goes, we have enough as it is. Medic can heal teammates. You still got Mad Milk and Girardi aren't just for yourself, they're for teammates too, if they use it. And it also removes the flames off multiple people, not just one person. Yeah, and you have Air Blast, which isn't an unlockable weapon feature. It's for the Pyro, it's for the default flamethrower. So you can have no unlockable weapons for at least Pyro, and you're still able to reduce the flames off of other teammates. So, and as for Pyros already have a built-in mechanic that removes afterburn for other Pyros. So, Pyro v Pyro, you won't get the afterburn shit. So, I'm not quite sure why you think that's a good idea, but I don't think that would be a good idea at all. And I'm glad they didn't have the suit or whatever for Spy, because that would have been a terrible idea. It would have made fighting spies as Pyro a complete fucking task. It would have made it a complete fucking chore. And I don't think that that's what the TF2 classes need. So, there's my 2 cents on that. What's your opinion on Pyros?
Pyros are the guys who get the NGs, right? You have the NGs backs.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't care. They can do their jobs. Yeah, I'd love to have a Pyro whenever I'm as NG, but not words and things. I would love to have a Pyro. Pyros are amazing whenever you are playing NG. Not whenever you're playing any other class.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was trying to say.
So in this one, we're talking about the subclass for Pyro called the Pybro. Basically, this is a complete engineer's best friend. Pybros usually have the Home Wrecker. The Neon Annihilator works too, but that's more of a Pyro Shark thing. And don't worry about what Pyro Shark is. If you don't know, you can look that up somewhere else. But Pybro, usually, Pybros are great spy checkers. They won't let any spies or any, sentry counter classes, such as Soldier or Demos, destroy the engineer's buildings. Or at least his teammates' engineer's buildings. He basically said, they're okay because they help out the team. So, if you haven't figured out by now, it's pretty clear Detective wants the Pyro to be just a support class and nothing much more than that. Although I feel like Pybros are a little too specific of a support class. I wouldn't want to just help out the engineer. The engineer can do the shit himself. Not only that, but Pyro, not Pybro, but Pyro already can be a great spy checker and help out his engineer. So, you don't need to have a Pybro to help out your engineer. Pyros can do that just as good. Well, as long as they keep... Really, the only difference that Pybros have is that they can remove the spy's sapper if the engineer's dead or if the spy catches the engineer off guard. And I do think that that's a good feature for an unlockable weapon. That's why I use the Home Wrecker, at least on defense. But I don't think that should be his default playstyle. I don't think anybody would want to play as him, which I'm sure is what Detective wants. I'm sure that's what some other people who don't like Pyro wants too. I'm sure they wish that the way Pyro is played now. Maybe it's a WM1 thing. I will say that's kind of a cheap way to play Pyro, but when TF2 was first released, that's kind of all Pyro could do. WM1. He didn't have Air Blast. They added that in. And they added a mechanic to where if a Pyro extinguishes a teammate, he gets 20 plus health. He gets 20 health for doing that. So it rewards Pyros for being somewhat more supportive. So maybe Valve is going to make Pyro a support class, and maybe they're not. We don't know. We'll have to see when the Pyro update gets here. And who knows? Maybe they won't change Pyro at all. Maybe we'll just be some new damn weapons, and that's it. But we'll just have to see. But again, as far as detectives argument goes, I feel as though making him a subclass like Pyro, the official class, I feel like that'd be too specific and kind of boring. I mean, it kind of only just helps out one specific class too. He doesn't really help out any other classes. So, again, too specific. So, now, what is your opinion on the fact that Pyro is a great spot checker? Like, do you think that's a good quality of the Pyro? The fact that he can spot check the easiest?
Yes, I think that's a very good quality, and that should stay in Team Fortress 2.
Now I'm gonna
spies.
Now I'm gonna chime in here. You mentioned earlier that the Pyro's tick damage or his afterburn was quite annoying, but the fact that he can track a spy, that's his only way of tracking a spy with the tick damage. So do you still think they should remove that?
I wasn't saying that they should remove it completely. I was saying that they should put spaces in between the burning. Instead of just tick, 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 go tick, space, tick, space, tick, space, tick. Just
I see what you mean.
We
see what you mean, Detective. Alrighty. Okay, so I'll put this part in there, and I've explained it before that Pyro is a good spot checker. Sped checker. I almost said sped checker, but he's a good spot checker. And in this video he says, well, that's a good thing. That's still a good thing. Going back to the afterburn shit, and I explained to him in this part of the interview that, and by the way, don't let him fool you. He did say that they should remove it, and if he didn't say it in this interview, then I know he said that to me before. I specifically remember him saying that to me before. They should remove Pyro's afterburn. Now what he says in this part of the interview is that, no, well, they shouldn't remove it completely, even though I fucking said that before. They should make it to where it's not constant, where it's like a space, where they put a space between the so-called damage that it does. So, I know what he understands, but if you don't, he's talking about if the afterburn wasn't completely like, if it kind of flared up, it's like, cha, 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 like that. I don't think that's be a good idea. Again, most of his ideas I don't agree with, so I'm gonna keep saying I don't think that's a good idea. For one, if the flame damage, he never specified on how much damage the little afterburn space thing should do, but I assumed he wants it to say the same. My thing though is, if that were the case, and if he wanted to keep the damage the same, again, it's a complete head-on nerf to the Pyro. I feel like it's too hard of a nerf. And while afterburn is fine the way it is, I feel as though, see, the spy already has somewhat a resistance to damage, including flame damage, while he's cloaked. So it doesn't last as long. And the visual image that I'm putting in my head is that the particles that shows where the spy is, and the flame stuff on him, I feel as though that would, appear and disappear, appear and disappear, appear and disappear. If that's what he wants, then I don't think it'd be as good as tracking the spy as it would be with just the regular afterburn. So, again, detective, you kind of made a bit of a rash thought there. After watching this video, maybe rethink your opinions, because this is basically just dumb. Okay? The only reason I wanted to do this interview was to get him, or I got him to do it, but come on, I wasn't just gonna. I acted like I agreed, because I didn't want to completely like shut him down during the interview, make him feel like shit. Then, no, I'm gonna upload this now to where he can't do nothing about it. And call me a dick if you want to, but this Pyros thing has to stop. It's not, annoying as the fact that he just. It wouldn't be as annoying if the fact that he doesn't even know what the hell he's talking about. If he actually had good stuff, and he had some, but there's too much just opinion this, opinion that, and, well, I guess you're supposed to have opinions. But as far as the facts go, maybe you should research it a bit more and actually test it out. That's why I made him play Pyro, and guess what? He didn't like playing it. So, and from the looks of things, he wasn't doing so good. So maybe, just maybe, Pyro isn't overpowered, and maybe all of us are just fucking overreacting because we're so goddamn fucking stupid. And I'm not calling Detective stupid. He's pretty smart. But I do think when it comes to this Pyro interview that he was a little unintelligent when it came to that. He should have done more research. So, sorry. Had to do this to you, bro. And, just had to. How do you think that they could tweak him? What things could they do to the Pyro to help him, or to make him more of a support class, like sniper, spy, or medic, like those types?
Just make it to where he doesn't have as much damage. Because that's whenever people just start switching to Pyros, they get things like the flog, and they start just spraying everywhere. Then they become immortal, then they get free crits. And it's just like, what? Not really fair.
Okay. Alright, so in this one, he basically says, and we already discussed this before, but he wants the Pyro to be a support class. As for my opinion goes, I kind of want him to be more of an offensive class. Just find a way. He's already in the offensive group as in the class main menu, so let's just make him more of an offensive class. Or just find a way to tweak him. I wouldn't know how to tweak him, but if I had to make him a support class, make some of his support things more helpful. Or give him more support options. If you want him to be a support class. Like, I don't know. He already has the extinguished team. He's already has the extinguished teammate thing. So, I really don't know what more that they could do to make him a support class. Because, I mean, maybe the Pyro should have some sort of healing mechanic like a medic. Where he can do something, or like, better, yet probably more like the heavy, with the whole sandwich. Maybe he should do something to teammates where it kind of gives him a little bit of a health boost. I don't know. Or give him something like the Mad Milk for Scout. Make him like gasoline. Like some gasoline, throws it on enemies. And maybe that teammate that's attacking that specific enemy gets some sort of health. I don't know. But he wants there to be a huge damage nerf to Pyro. And he thinks the flog's OP. Now, I think the flog is good, but it doesn't have any air blast. Which for me as a Pyro is kind of important because I need some sort of way to extinguish my teammates, to help them out. The flog doesn't give me that option. So, and yes, I think the flawed kind of doesn't really help in this whole pyro thing that detective's going through. Maybe nerf it. I don't know. I actually think the flog was already kind of nerfed. Because, I mean, yes, they give Uber, but it only lasts for so long. And you can only just go in there. You can still die while using the flog, too. So, even if you have crits, for one, you still got to get up close and personal. Two, you have to not die while you're trying to kill people. Which, we all know how hard that is. And that's pretty much it. So, I don't think making him a support class is good. I think maybe tweaking him in some way that makes him more of a quote-unquote offensive class. I don't think he's a good defensive class. He wouldn't make a good defensive class as far as that goes. Just make him just more offensive, so, I guess. You're a demo man. So as a demo man, do you find yes? Do you find Pyros troubling to you? Do you get deterred if a Pyro walks in to 1v1s you? Are you a little worried that you'll lose? Because, you know, the Pyro is able to deflect your projectiles. Does that deter you in any sort of way when fighting one?
Not as much as most people will, because with the normal pike bomb launcher, the projectiles bounce everywhere. I use the iron launcher, which make it to where the projectiles don't bounce as much, and they basically just straight down to the ground, and they can't really be moved. So it'll do more damage to the pyro than it'll do more damage to me. Hence the reason why I use that grenade launcher, because there's no point. You're gonna die anyways.
Alrighty. So, as y'all know, Detective is a demo main, which I feel like maybe be a part of this whole Pyro hate, because Pyro... This is another one of the things I might agree with, because if you're a soldier or demo and a Pyro's good at air blasting, it can be quite annoying. Now, he likes using the Iron Bomber. He calls it the Iron Launcher. No, it's the Iron Bomber. But he uses the Iron Bomber because of the fact that it doesn't really have any, like, roll to the bombs. So it's kind of like they kind of almost stay in place. Or they don't have as much, like, tumble as, like, the stock grenade launcher does. Which, in my opinion, they are hard. Even those grenades are hard as shit to reflect. And just, you know, reflect back at the demo man. You never really know where those things are going to go. But I can do it decently as Pyro, but again, I'm pretty much mediocre at all classes except for maybe Sniper. I've kind of put a little bit more time into him than any other class because he is my main. Now, as far as Demo Man goes, I might agree with him on this. He says he can fight demos, Pyro is pretty much okay as demo, which, you know, good for him. But he still thinks they're annoying, which, if you're good at fighting something, how is it annoying? Is what I have to say Which, I know as soon as I'm done with this video and I upload this and I get all this complete and done, I know I'm probably going to be getting a call from him criticizing me now. I'm going to laugh my ass off if he makes another video to go along with the one that I did. He said, the reason why Robot Sniper's full of shit. I know he's going to do some sort of video like that. Actually, I might edit this part out so I don't give any ideas. Now, Detective, Pyro in Man versus Machine. Do you think Pyro in MVM is okay to use as a class on your team, or do you think he needs tweaking?
If you're gonna use him on MVM, then yes, I think he's good because he can burn multiple enemies and not just one, but that's because of the afterburn.
So, what tweaks do you think Valve should make to Pyro for MVM, specifically for MVM? Any upgrades or?
I don't think he really. If they're gonna turn him into a support class, then yes, he'll need tweaking on his damage. But if they're gonna keep him the same way he is, then he doesn't really need any tweaking.
Alright. He doesn't need any tweaking in NVM if they keep him the way he is. That's strange, because if you don't get any upgrades in NVM as any class, you're gonna be fucked. I don't see why you wouldn't get upgrades in the first place. Oh, the Pyro's fine the way he is in NVM. Bullshit. There's a reason why they have upgrade stations in the first place. They have Air Blast Force. They have fucking more ammo capacity. They have more flamethrower afterburn time. They have more flamethrower afterburn damage. More flamethrower direct damage. If you don't get... Those upgrades are viable in MVM, and they need to stay. They don't need... He's not saying that they should remove the upgrades, but he's saying that Pyro's fine the way he is. Now, maybe he realizes, and I'm sure watching this, he's probably thinking right now, well, I never did say that Pyro was okay without the upgrades. But for the sake of this, we're just gonna assume, I'm gonna assume that that's what he was thinking when he said that. As far as my thoughts go on Pyro and NVM, he's okay. He's a pretty mediocre class to have. Obviously, the Air Blast is #1 thing for Pyro in MVM. People say the Flog is pretty good, but I think that's only really good for tanks. And you can use the Flamethrower for tanks too if you get some crit canteens. They work just as well, I promise. So I'm not quite sure what he might have been thinking on that, but I'm just going to assume that he thinks that Pyros are okay and maybe they don't need any upgrades at all, which I'm going to completely debunk right here and now. They do, and there's a reason for any of the upgrades. There's actually a video from After Breakfast called MVM The Forgotten 3. This talks about Pyro, Sniper, and Spy. And I was actually kind of surprised when they included Pyro, because I never had anyone complain to me about playing Pyro. I've had people complain to me about playing the other two classes, which is bullshit. In my opinion, at least Spy could use some buffs in MVM or like some different upgrades to make him slightly better. I'm not sure, but I think Spy's probably the weakest out of the three. Sniper's okay because with that explosive headshot upgrade, he can take out more people at once with a single shot. It ain't that hard to get headshots either, so yeah. I'm getting a little off topic. Let's back to the Pyro thing. Pyro needs to have upgrades. I don't think he's fine the way he is when starting off, but you can't just not go without upgrades the entire way. The entire mission. Not just the way, but the entire mission. And I think him having, like, also canteens, Uber canteens, to be more specific, are really important. And you won't really get very far if you don't get those upgrades. So, there you go. So, Detective, with this upcoming Pyro update, there's a lot of controversy about the Pyro's flamethrower, how the flamethrower works. And I'm going to chime in with my little 2 cents here. I feel like when I'm fighting any other class, I know their strengths, where their weaknesses, what I can do to avoid taking damage from them. The only class that I really don't know, is the Pyro. Because as it stands right now, the flamethrowers like flames are not actually the flames that come out of the flamethrower itself. Those are just particle effects. But the actual damage are little boxes that are invisible boxes that come out of the Pyro's head. It try to match it up with where the flame is. And actually I can leave a a link in the description to a video that explains all this. And I would recommend go checking it out, guys, because it does a really good job of explaining it a whole lot better than I can. But as it stands now, depending on the player's internet connection, the little flamethrower boxes will actually sometimes go further than what the flames actually represent. So what you see on screen isn't actually what you get. Now, in this upcoming power update, there's a lot of controversy about saying, we should change the flamethrower, how it works, that way we know, that way we get a little bit more information, like maybe we can finally understand how far away we absolutely need to stay away from a pyro. Do you think that that's a good idea, Detective? Like making the flamethrower like hit scan, like a type of melee almost. Do you think that'd be a good idea?
I think that the hitbox or whatever you call it, I don't remember right now, I'm too tired, but should be as long as the flames, or maybe even shorter.
Yes, because that way we know exactly how far to stay away from them. We know exactly.
Because if you shorten it down, then that means people with a really bad internet connection it will be as long as the fire.
Yes. Alright. Well, so this is another little point that I kind of agree with. That video that I mentioned in that part of the interview, I will leave a link to it down in the description. This guy, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it basically shows you, it gives you a visual on how the Pyros flamethrower really works and what's wrong with it. Because as it stands right now, the little boxes that I'm referring to, if you have bad internet connection, they'll go way further than what they should be going, which is bad because when it looks like you're not on fire, you get caught on fire. That can be a little annoying. Now, I can kind of think of a reasonable distance to stay away from pyros, but I am kind of right when I say I don't know exactly how far to stay away. In my mind, they should make the flamethrower little box a complete like rectangle top box that extends from the flamethrower and ends where the flame particle ends. So it's like one little long, like almost kind of box-like thing. And that's actually how melee weapons work. That's why I said like melee, almost melee, because melee is actually a hit scan. And I think, well, actually, when I think about it, hit scan means you have to be pointing directly at them. So maybe it should be almost kind of like narrow at the front, but kind of wide at the top, where it kind of represents the flames, like waving. Because if it's completely narrow, you have to be pointing right at the person to be doing the flame damage. I kind of didn't think that through when I asked him. But if they could find a way to tweak it, I think that would be greatly appreciated. I do agree with Detective on this one. They should change it. That's pretty much it for this. Okay, so having that been said, what are your hopes for the upcoming Pyro update? I may have already asked this before, but do you have any hopes?
Yes, I really hope that they either nerf his afterburn or completely remove crits from him. That would be something to do, most definitely. Because crits are what probably drives me crazy the most.
So in this last segment, at least I think it's the last segment, I asked him, what do you expect and what do you want from the Pyro update? And he just says, I want the afterburn either nerfed or the crits completely removed. The random crits is what I think he's referring to. He might also be referring to the crit weapons that, stuff like the backburner or the flare gun or the extinguisher, like those types of weapons. He wants them completely removed. And he says they drive me the most crazy. My thing is though, is why is it just the Pyros crits that drive you crazy? Is it not don't other crits drive you crazy too? What about the critical for Scout? Yes, it's mini crits, but still goddamn annoying as fuck. What about the goddamn Buffalo Steak Sandwich? Now, this weapon's kind of bad, because it only restricts you to melee, but it's still mini crits. I guess they wouldn't be quite as annoying, but if they're using the killing gloves of boxing, if they get a kill on you as a heavy, they'll get crits and then go on a complete killing rampage. Because they'll just one-shot anybody. Is that not annoying to you? Has it ever happened to you, Detective? My point is, you're kind of limiting your thoughts to just one class. You gotta think about the grand scope of things. Crits are annoying. Crits are annoying on Pyro. Oh wait, other classes have crits too. But it's just the Pyro though. Detective Flame. I don't like fire. Fire scares me. You gotta quit being a little bitch. Pyros are easy to kill, so I'm not sure why you're thinking like that. But yeah. Alright guys. Sorry about all that. We need to end the video right here. Again, check out Detective's channel and make sure you subscribe to him because he has good content too. And be sure to check out some of my other videos, guys. I have been uploading a little bit more nowadays. And yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I will catch you guys next time. Stick around. So this is the last segment that I have of the interview. Before we end it though, for real, I just wanted to say, Detective, I'm sorry if this is considered a dick move. I had to do it though. Like, I couldn't just say all this shit with you there, otherwise you're just gonna, either you would completely leave and the whole video would be worthless, or you would just say, well, no, I'm right and you're wrong. Well, you may not have said that, but you probably think that. And guys, this video isn't to condemn Detective. This isn't supposed to attack him in any sort of way. I love Detective. He's my only YouTube buddy friend. I do have other friends on Steam, but me and him, we both have YouTube channels and we both cooperate with one another. We're both in each other's videos, so of course he's one of my best friends on Steam. So, and I will leave a link to his channel in the description. Go check out his content, guys, because he has good content, like I said in the last part. As my closing remarks, actually feel, Detective, maybe the reason I'm doing this is it's like a Pyro intervention for you. You gotta get out of this stupid hate, and you gotta get out of this thought that, oh, just Pyros are annoying. What about Scouts? What about people who are good at playing Scout? What about me? What about like me? Am I not an annoying sniper to fight against if you're playing sniper? A class is only as good as the person playing that class. So, while there are very good Pyros, there are also bad Pyros. While there are very good Demo Man mains, there's also bad Demo Man mains. There's even heavy mains who are bad and good. Same thing with engineers, all classes. There's good medics and there are bad medics. There's good spies and there are very bad spies. The list could go on. But my thing is, though, is why are you focusing on one class, though? I get that. I don't quite see that he's a direct counter to you as a demo main in the first place. And I think this is kind of ridiculous that you think Pyros should be completely removed. I mean, I'm going to be honest, guys. He's like the Adolf Hitler for Pyros. He probably wishes that they would just remove him. But that's just ridiculous thinking. And I think that's a little rash to think that before you actually make that decision. That's why I had him play Pyro, so maybe he would rethink some of his ideas. But no. So I had to do this to him. And that video will be going up soon. It'll probably be after this video once I have it all done. I gotta do a lot of editing for this. So after this video goes up, I will work on his pyro gameplay that I made him do. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. This video is probably going to be a little lengthy, and I will catch you guys next time.